Okay, so for today's topic, we're going to look at multiplying and dividing fractions. Now, the last few days we looked at adding and subtracting fractions. I think multiplying and dividing fractions is easier because when we multiply and divide, we don't need to find a common denominator. For multiplying fractions, all we have to do is multiply the numerators and the denominators. So in our example here, we have 2/3 times 2/5. We are just going to multiply straight across. We're going to multiply the 2 times 2. We'll multiply the 3 times 5. That will give us 4/15. And that's our answer. We're completely done with the problem. 4/15, that can't be reduced at all. So we're going to leave that here as our final answer. On to dividing fractions. In this problem, we're going to do 2/3 divided by 2/5. When we do division of fractions, we can turn it into a multiplication problem by using what we call the reciprocal. The reciprocal is when we flip a fraction. What we do in this case is we flip the second term, the 2/5. What we're going to do is change that into 5/2. So we take our first term, and now we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So 2/3 divided by 2/5 becomes 2/3 times 5/2, where again 5/2 is the reciprocal. And once we've changed our problem into a multiplication problem, now we can just multiply our numerators and our denominators. So I do 2 times 5 over 3 times 2 to give 10 over 6. Okay. Now this fraction can be reduced. My numerator is bigger, so I want to make this into a mixed number. 6 goes into 10 one time with 4 left over. So I have 1 and 4/6. We can reduce this a little bit more because 4/6 can be reduced into 2/3. So my final answer is 1 and 2/3. The final thing we're going to look at is multiplying mixed numbers. That's where we have the whole number and a fraction. So I have 1 and 1/3 times 2 and 1/2. We're going to do the same thing here that we did when we added and subtracted, which is we're going to change our mixed numbers into improper fractions. Remember that our process for doing that is we take the whole number here, we multiply by the denominator, and then add the numerator. So I'm going to do 1 times 3 plus 1. Okay, that will give me 3 plus 1 will give me 4. So the first fraction, 1 and 1/3, becomes 4/3. I do the same thing with the second fraction. 2 times 2 plus 1. So this gives me 4 plus 1 will give me 5. 5/2. Okay? But now since we're multiplying, all I have to do is multiply right across. No common denominator. All we do is do 4 times 5 over 3 times 2. That will give us 20 over 6. Okay, not done with this yet because 20 is bigger than 6, so we want to change it into a mixed number. 6 goes into 23 times, right? That gives us 18 with 2 left over. So I'm going to get 3 and 2/6. I think we can reduce this one more time. The 2/6 can be simplified into 1/3. So our answer we get is 3 and 1/3.